Hey guys, it's Bo here with the 9-Degree Keyboard, and today I woke up to a tweet from Ubisoft, and we're getting some Year 9 Season 4 patches for a couple operators, so let's get right into it. Alright guys, so this is pretty cool. We're getting some updates, some nerfs, some buffs, and some fixes to Rainbow Six Siege. This is what I love to see because it actually means the developers are doing something. So we're going to get operator balancing on Buck, Kapkan, Lesion, Oryx, Ram, and Sledge. So let's first start with Buck. So what they're talking about here is their hard breach charges are useful for opening a couple reinforcements. Buck's primary role is soft breaching with the skeleton key. This role is almost always needed, and hard breach charges give him too much flexibility. Now, they're talking about taking away the hard breach charges on Buck. I personally really like them. I think it's really helpful when you solo queue. Their whole goal is to try and make it a little bit more team-oriented to where you have to work with your team. And I mean, it's kind of like what they did with Thermite when he had soft breaching charges and his hard breaching charges. They got rid of the soft breaching charges, so they're going to be giving Buck Claymores. I mean, I would rather see Buck's grenades come back, but hey, we get Claymores with Buck, so that's pretty interesting. They're not really doing anything to his guns, anything other than that. Just Buck is losing his hard breach charges, which it is what it is, and we're getting Claymores for it. Up next, we got Kapkans. Kapkan, this one I don't really like, because we're replacing Kapkan's Nitro Cell with Barbed Wire. I really love Nitro Cells in the games for defenders. I think it's really fun to get kills with Nitro Cells. And, you know, now that Barbed Wire does do damage to operators, this is kind of a useful thing to have. So, yeah, we're getting some Barbed Wire with Kapkan. It is what it is. It's a small fix. Not the best one, but honestly, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, there's a lot of C4s in the game. So, I guess their whole thing is, you know, he already has his EDs. And, you know, he already has enough explosive capabilities, and, you know, maybe a C4 is just a little bit too much. So this does help with pushing on, you know, sight as an attacker. You don't have to worry about too many C4s. You just got to be really careful, you know, once again, checking those doorways and, you know, seeing where the EDs are. I personally would rather see a little bit, like, maybe they add a couple more EDDs to his kit. But all they're doing is they're just going to get rid of his Nitro Cell and Barbed Wire. So up next, we got Lesion. And Lesion, according to Ubisoft, they think he has too much power, too much capability, and that his goo mines, you know, they load way too quickly. So what they're going to be doing is the refill time is going to be reduced by a second. You're also going to have from 9 goo mines, we're going down to 8. This really doesn't affect him that much, and the refill increase, like I said, it's going to be 30 seconds from 25. It's a little bit slower. It's only 5 seconds slower. And, you know, you're only losing 1 goo mine. This really isn't that big of a patch or a nerf. I wouldn't even call this a nerf. I think it would just be a very good balance. He does have a lot of capability, and his goo mines do load a little too quick, but I think it isn't as big of a problem as they're making it seem to be. But yeah, so we're losing 1 goo mine, and we're just dropping from 25 seconds. We're just upticking to 30 seconds for the recharge time on the goo mines. Honestly, not really a bad one. Nothing to cry about here. I'm sure some people will. Up next, we got Oryx. Oryx is crazy because Oryx has not been touched really since he came out. The only thing they really did with Oryx, from what I remember, is they just switched his SMGs up. They took the MP5K away from him, and they gave him Legion's SMG. So that was kind of like the big deal. They swapped him up with Melusi because Melusi used to have Legion's own SMG. So what we're going to be getting for Oryx is very interesting. So previously, the recovery times after using his dash were long enough for attackers to react and potentially eliminate him. Well, not a lot of people I know play Oryx, but this is, you know, pretty true. By reducing them, Oryx can capitalize on the element of surprise more consistently and make more effective use of his mobility without being too vulnerable. This change enhances his ability to disrupt enemy plans and maintain pressure on attackers, making him more viable as a competitive operator. So the new timings will also synergy really well with the recently buffed Spaz 12 as more comfortable to use, and will be very reliable to finish enemies more consistent and against ballistic shields. So this is good. He's going to be able to really attack shield operators a lot more. I know that shield operators have been a huge heavy meta recently, and it is nice to bring our huge operator back so that he could bust down some shields. So the ram dash, the weapon recovery time after ram dash will be reduced to 0.2 seconds from 0.5. Weapon recovery time after dashing against a wall is reduced to 3.3 seconds from 0.5 seconds, and weapon recovery time after dashing against an enemy is reduced to 0.1 seconds from 0.5. This is actually kind of huge. It makes him a little bit more of a valuable operator. It's nice to see them actually buff Oryx instead of nerfing him to the ground. And, like I said in my last video, there's a difference between reworking and remastering and buffing and nerfing operators. I like to see these kinds of things, and I'm glad they just didn't push this out for year 10 and make this like a gigantic season where they just fix a bunch of operators. Up next, we have Ram. Ram is actually interesting because they haven't really touched Ram that much. And they say her auto breachers are the most destructive gadgets in the game, which, yeah, that's very true. They are. So what they are thinking about doing, or what they are going to do, is getting rid of the fact that she has the small shorty shotgun. So from her loadout. So she's getting, the small shotgun removed from her kit. So she has to rely more on her gadgets to break down walls. Personally, every time I run Ram, I rarely use her shotgun as a secondary. So, it's not a big, I don't think this is a big nerf or really even a buff. It's just kind of balancing the operator, and it's nice to see. And up next, we have an interesting one. Sledge. Sledge is getting, actually, a buff. He's going, or a nerf, or a buff. He's going from a 1 speed to a 2 speed, and he's going from a 3 health to a 2 health. So he's going to be a little bit more a flexible operator to move around. He's going to kind of take over Buck's role when it comes to vert. So honestly, I haven't really seen a lot of people run Sledge in a very long time. I hope to see Sledge be around a lot, and I personally think they could have given him the hard breaching charges that they're taking away from Buck, or they could have brought the SMG 11 back for him. But you know what? I mean, this is a pretty cool, I guess you want to call it a buff on Sledge, because he hasn't really been touched in a long time, since like year 7 or year 8. So this is pretty cool that they're actually focusing on like the OG operators of Rainbow Six Siege. And now up next, we have weapon balancing, and I am so excited that they're actually going to be doing something with shotguns. We're doing Slug shotguns. So back in year 9, season 1, they normalized the damage drop off of every weapon to match the class. The Boss G was one of the exceptions, which we all know. The Boss G is crazy. So the result, the damage drop-off changed from starting at 10 meters to 25 meters and ending at 18 to 35 meters. With some time now in the live servers, which I think they let this go way too long, we believe the Slug shotgun class is not performing as intended. Our goal was to create something between a shotgun and a DMR, but the data shows that they are closer to the latter. So realistically, like I said in my last video, the Boss G, or one of my videos, the Boss G is like a sniper rifle. So therefore, they have decided to adjust the damage drop-off to align more closely with regular shotguns. Let's go, Ubisoft. We are actually fixing the Boss Gs from what it seems like. This adjustment will maintain their length, legality and short to mid-range, while reducing their effectiveness in long-range engagements. However, the magnified scopes will remain, so that is a little bit of an annoying thing. We're still getting the 2.5 sight on, visual with the Boss G, but the damage drop-off is reduced. So we're going from 25 meters to 15 meters. We're going from 35 meters to 25 meters, and the maximum damage range is reduced to 60% from 70. And then the destruction is also reduced. This is huge. It means that you don't have to keep banning visual and Dokkaebi. Well, I mean, if you want to ban Dokkaebi for the calls, that's fine. But we don't have to really keep banning visual all the time for the Boss G. I know a lot of people ban these two operators purely from the weapon. So this is awesome. This weapon affects the ACS-12, the Boss G, the TSG, and the .44 Vendetta. So the operators that this does affect would be Alibi, Izami, Dokkaebi, Goyo, Cade, Maestro, Vigil, and Demos. So that's actually pretty cool. I'm glad they're actually doing something about shotguns. Shotguns have been a huge problem, and especially the Boss G. So up next, we got the G36. And funny enough, I was talking about this with my buddies on stream. They really destroyed the G36 because it was too overpowered and too many people were using it. So like they said, year 8, season 4, the G36 became one of the attacker weapons with a high KD ratio. It was a really good gun. I really did enjoy using it until they nerfed it to the ground, and it seems like they're going to be buffing it, because at this time in year 8, they increased the recoil, which has significantly impacted its popularity. which was just a power move to stop people from using the G36. Personally, I think if you're good with the gun, Siege is a tactical shooter. It's a one-shot headshot game. It's all about how quick you can be against the other players. So realistically, whatever gun that you use, even if you're good, your KD will still stay high. So I really think it's kind of silly to kind of nerf a gun just based off of everyone picking it. And funny enough, they did this for the G36, but it took them a little while for the Boss G, which it's like, okay, why did we, why don't we do this with the Boss G after, a couple seasons, last like 2 years where this gun was absolutely crazy. But I digress. So what they're going to be doing is they said they increased the recoil on Iana and Ashe, who have the G36. And while Ashe uses it only 2% of the rounds, because like we all know, every Ashe main always uses R4C. R4C is probably one of my favorite guns in the game as well. They're proposing a new recoil adjustment to make the weapon more appealing while maintaining its killing performance. The new recoil setting will be a middle ground between stats before Year 8 Season 4 and the pre-patch configuration. So this is affecting recoil on PC and console. So the vertical recoil is reduced on the gun, and the horizontal recoil is reduced on the gun. So this is pretty much a buff to just do the G36, and these affects the operators of Ashe and Iana. Honestly, I think it's pretty nice. Pretty nice to see. We're actually, I can't wait to run the G36 again. It's honestly, like I said, one of my favorite guns to use. And then last up, what they're going to be doing is they're going to fix the TCSG12. They say the weapon has been performing very well since the last changes. However, the new tweak to the shotgun slug class might cause it to underperform. To compensate for this, they're increasing its base damage to ensure it remains effective as a long-range gun. So they increased the hit percentage from 63 to now 75, and this is going to affect Goyo and Cade. So all in all, these seems like really good patch notes. I'm really excited. To get back on Rainbow Six Siege. I think there's a lot of promise. Hopefully, cross your fingers, chat. Knock on wood. We could only hope. But this seems like Ubisoft is going in a step in the right direction and is doing some, operator tweaks and not making an entire season based off of that and trying to pump content with just brand new skins for that season. So other than that, guys, my name is Bo with the 90-degree keyboard. If you guys like Rainbow Six Siege and you need Rainbow Six Siege news, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this to a friend who needs to know this, and I will catch you guys either live on YouTube or on my next video. Make sure you guys take a shower, go work out, tell your mom that you love her, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.